welcome back to another build that I haven't had a build on my channel for a while, which I have talked about in a few different past videos, where I've been in sort of a funk when it comes to building, and like sometimes I still like doing it every once in a while on my own, or at least like decorating, maybe not so much like from the ground level of starting up. Building has never been one of like my preferred or strong suit methods of Sims. However, with The Sims 4, I've definitely grown to like it more. Now, I don't know if that is just because maybe I like the building in Sims 4 better than I did in the previous ones, or maybe because as I got older, I got more interested in actually having the houses look certain ways, or the ways that I wanted them, and actually had the patience to deal with it as I got older. I'm not really sure. However, I definitely do like building more, but it's not one of my go-tos. I definitely like the gameplay and the cast more. So I definitely still enjoy doing creative sim videos and like the gameplay videos with my challenges and stuff way more than I like doing the speed builds. I definitely have to be more in a certain mindset for speed builds than I do for, like, creative sims and also the let's plays, the challenge videos, whatever. And for a long time there, like, I constantly kept that inspiration up. I constantly kept wanting to build, and I still sort of have that desire to build, and I keep mentioning that I've been working on a few different projects. However, some of them either I couldn't finish them, or it was situations where, like, I messed up in the recording because I thought I hit the recording button and I didn't at certain parts. Now, there is one of them that I messed up with the recording in that sort of way, like I didn't hit record when I thought I did. So, I did have an issue with that one, but there is one, what I'm trying to get to, there is one of them that I'm still planning on showing. I actually finished it recently, and I just gotta sit down and edit the video. And I also had this one for a really long time just sitting there because I built this, or at least I started building this before, I want to say this is for my Female Gaming Legacy Challenge. I never mentioned that. So this is basically the house that Zelda's gonna eventually wind up in, or at least the house I'm planning and hoping to get Zelda in. Granted, me saying this, I do a lot of pre-recording, so I already know that we do make it into this house. Spoilers! But, yeah, anyway, I make this house for that generation, and, I started working on it before I fully took control of Zelda's generation, but it was, like, right before. It was, like, the last 2 episodes of Rouge. I was like, I'm gonna start building this house, because what I've been learning through because another thing that has changed, along with Sims 4, and in some ways this is, like, I get Sims 4 has a lot of glitches, it has a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that I wish that it was different. Honestly, I really would love them to take a lot of the stuff from Sims 2. Sims 2, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, is probably my favorite Sims, for the most part, but I wish they would take a lot of that and just build upon it. Like, re-bring the bare, like, the bones and some of the flavor and all that of Sims 2, and then just add stuff from some of the other Sims. I definitely would like Sims 4's Build and Buy more than some of the other ones, from what I remember. Again, I didn't fool with Build and Buy much in those other ones, but from what I remember, definitely, that's one of the things for Sims 4 that I definitely like to carry over. Now, Creative Sim, I still honestly probably like Sims 4's Creative Sim a little bit, at least the way the Sims look. And personally, I know this is probably a weird, like, thing. A lot of people really want this, but the color wheel, I'm iffy about it. If it comes back, it's fine, but I'm not too pressed about it. I will say sometimes there are certain things, especially in Build and Buy, that I would love for it to be a certain color for that room or whatever, like, this fits the aesthetics of what I want this room to be like, or that I have this vision in my head. However, it does not come in the colors that I want it. So yeah, the color wheel in some ways would be nice, but at the same time, it's not, like, a huge deal, and the open world is not a huge deal for me either. Granted, honestly, I probably played Sims 2 more than I played Sims 3, and I think that was just because a few different reasons. When Sims 3 came out, I was in this weird, awkward phase of my life that I was trying to sort of figure out, was I still in games as much? And I think that was more from a outside perspective, as much as I hate to admit it. Like, in between family and trying to fit in. Especially where I live, gaming wasn't as much of a thing. Like, I definitely still played a lot of games, don't get me wrong, even through then, but there was definitely a time where, even when I was playing them, I wasn't full, like, certain games I wasn't embracing as much as I probably would have. So I think during Sims 3 era, in between the fact that there were certain things about Sims 3 that I didn't like, and also the computer and stuff I had at the time, Sims 3 was not very playable for me. And from what I remember, and I don't know if it was because of the open world, but I'm imagining it was because of it, there wasn't a smooth, like, really any transition in between the worlds, and, like, you couldn't just easily go from playing one sim in one world to another sim family in a different world, like, super easily, and, like, I hated that. And there wasn't as much, like, yeah, you had open world within that world, but it was harder to, from what I remember, and I could be wrong, so if I am, feel free to let me know down in the comments below, or maybe that's something they eventually changed and it was like that in early Sims 3, and not so much late Sims 3, but I remember being able to transfer in between families and, like, visit outside to other worlds was it was either impossible or nearly impossible for whatever reason. Again, I don't fully remember, but I do remember that being something that bothered me, was something about the worlds and being able to go in between them easily and smoothly, and it was like almost like different saves, I think. So yeah, so honestly, I like the, like, small open world, like the neighborhoods being open world, and I would be okay if there was a little bit more smoothness in between that instead of, like, quite as many loading screens, as long as it was within that neighborhood. So, like, a more open neighborhood, sort of like Sims 4 is doing now, but open it up just a little bit more so that there wasn't as much loading screens from going from house to house in within a neighborhood. That would be okay. I would like that type of open world, but, like, having full open world where you have the whole entire, like, all of Willow Creek was open world, if it was potentially going to slow down my game and make it harder to travel from world to worlds and have a save with multiple Sims in it, in all the worlds, that would, no. Anyway. So yeah, but I'm getting off on a tangent here, but yeah, Sims 2 was probably my favorite, but Sims 4, because I'm older, I've been able to get most of the packs I wanted, though here lately I've been waiting for them all to go on sale, but I've been able to get all of the packs. I really don't pay attention to the kits as much, except for certain ones, mainly build and buy ones. But I've also been starting to be more open to different types of gameplays. I never did generational things. I had a really bad habit in Sims of, like, either turning aging off or putting it on long and then pausing aging for a short amount of time, then opening it back up and then pausing it again. So I just played with basically the same families forever and ever without them hardly ever aging or dying. Even though, honestly, I really like one of my complaints about Sims 4 is that Sims don't die easily. So, that has changed. So, like, I've evolved as Sims 4 has come about and stuff, and I've opened up my gameplay, so doing more builds more often in Sims 4 and, like, playing all that other stuff, has definitely been fun, and I like all aspects of it now. Like, I still love building I like building. It's just still not my top, one. However, with my Not So Berry and my Female Gaming Legacy challenges, I have enjoyed trying to make houses for them when I can. Let's see, I think with the Female Gaming Legacy, which this one's for Generation Zelda, which is Generation 4, I didn't make Rouge's house. I made Amicia's and I also made Velvet, but I didn't make Rouge's house. But Rouge, which I recently, was going back through some screenshots, I really forgot that Rouge moved around as much as she did. She lived, obviously, in her childhood home with her mom, Amicia, and then she moved to the city, and then she moved to Hinford and Bagley, I believe, for a very short time. Then she moved to Mount Kohlrabi, but she moved in a house that was on the lower end, and then she eventually moved into a house that was more towards the mountain. So yeah, she lived in quite a few places, so I didn't build her any of those houses. However, she did end up in quite a huge house, and honestly, because of in between both Zelda's parents, is why it was a little bit more easier to get a house this big for Zelda. But I wanted a big house for Zelda from the beginning, because for anyone who may have stumbled on this video randomly and you haven't seen my Female Gaming Legacy Challenge and you've been to this part, that is a legacy challenge I have made myself. It is based off of different video game female characters in gaming, and I am in the process of adding more options so you can switch out some if you just really don't want to play that character, or there's packs involved that you don't have and you could try and switch out characters if you want to or see fit or whatever. So I am working on bringing more characters as an option. I'm personally going to be calling them Series 2 and Series 3. And I probably will eventually try to do those, but I'm going to try to... I don't know. You know, I'm still working on some things. But first I need to finish Series 1 here. But yeah, from the beginning, I wanted Zelda to be in a castle-like house. But as I moved her, like, as I realized I was probably going to be moving her into Hinford and Bagley, I didn't want it to stick out too much. Granted, it still sticks out, but I wanted it to seem like maybe it was at one point maybe had the bare bones of, like, a small castle or something like that, but slowly over time was more fitted for more modern-ish times or whatever. So, and basically, it was like, you know, Zelda's having this modified as she's living in a different house, and, you know, spending money on it as it goes, but obviously with Sims, technically you're not building a house making modifications to a house as you're playing through it, so I had to save up money, but I was like, pretend we're slowly spending that money. But anyway, so yeah, in this video, it's mainly just going to be the outside of the build. I hope that my camera's not too jerky, because like I said, I haven't been doing too many build and buys here lately. I mean speed builds. Anyway, yeah, haven't been doing so many speed builds here lately, so gotta get used to trying not to move the camera so much again, and I feel like I did, so I apologize. So, I didn't want to speed this video up too much, so there is a chance that, this is longer than I mean it to be, but I don't do any furniture, so I didn't actually cut out, like, doing, some of the wallpaper and stuff that I normally cut out in my speed builds in the past, because my thought process was, you know, you're gonna see those in the, like, as I'm adding the furniture in, like, you'll see the speed build, like, the wallpaper and the flooring and, like, all that stuff, during the furniture process. Enough that, you know, usually I cut those and the layout out, so, you know, it's not too big of a concern, like, the layout, because, again, you'll sort of see it as, the video progresses. But because this is one of those videos where I will not be doing any of the furniture, on the inside, I do add a few things here and there on the outside, but I don't do much. But I don't do... Like I said, I don't do any of the furniture on the inside or anything like that, so... Yeah, I kept that stuff in, and I thought, you know, it might be a longer video, but for anyone who sort of likes sort of the vlog type videos, I thought not only could this be a speed build, but I could sort of talk about some things, especially with the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge, and some stuff going on with it, since this build is related to that. If you just want to watch the build process and you don't want to hear me talking the whole entire time, perfectly fine. That is understandable if you just want to watch the build process. Now, for the finished product, the ending, I do let it seeing the overall thing together, but because technically it's not finished, I don't have any pictures for it. So this is just the video. Now, I am using custom content in this because for my Female Gaming Legacy Challenge, I do have custom content in those. So any builds that I ever do for that, except for sometimes the starting builds, but even, I think, with Not So Berry, my Mint Challenge, I did do a no custom content build for the start of it anyway. I eventually started adding custom content to it as time went on. But even for Velvets, I think had custom content, just because those saves, I have custom content in them, I like having them, and I'm going to be playing them more often, therefore I'm going to put custom content in it. But I'm still going to upload this build to my gallery. I'll have all my gallery information down in the description below, so you can check that out if you would like. So this build will be up there, and eventually I will put the final version of it. Now the final version of it will have a lot of CC in it, because that will be like all the furniture and stuff, and depending on how things play out, and like, you know, how many kids Zelda has, their personalities that come out, you know, those things are going to be evolving as time goes on. However, I will let you know at this point in time, because I pre-recorded so much of the Female Gaming Legacy, and my editing computer my editing computer has been a pain in the butt lately. I try to record anytime I get a chance, even if I am behind on my editing, just because I never know when the situation is going to happen, where, for whatever reason, I can't record, but I can at least maybe edit, just so that I for surely have those videos. So, anytime I get a chance to record, I'm going to record. So I do have quite a bit of recordings, prepared. So, I'm making sure to try to get this video up before Zelda moves into this house in the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge, but she is probably really close by the time you're seeing this video. But I have finally got to a point where I've fully furnitured pretty much this whole entire house. There is one room currently that still is not. However, the rest of it is. So, and I've been pretty happy with it. I've made some slight changes to the outside since then, but not a whole lot. But yeah, anyway, I hope you will like how this build turns out. Let me know down in the comments below. Like I said, if you want to just continue watching the build, you can feel free to, so that's why I'm just going to go ahead and say some of this stuff now. So yeah, if you would like to keep watching and just turn the volume down, fine, that's perfectly fine. But feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the build. Are you looking forward to seeing Zelda in it and seeing how the house builds? Evolves is what I was trying to say. But yeah, for the rest of the video, I sort of just do some talking about the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge, because I do have some plans in reference to it that I want to keep trying to mention every once in a while. I think I'll be mentioning it in some of the videos during the actual Female Gaming Legacy Challenge videos, so at least I think I have. But I am finishing up, though, like I mentioned earlier, I am going to be having some other options for other female gaming characters that you can maybe plug in places where either you really just want it to be all characters that you're familiar with, or if you don't have certain packs, but you have a pack from one of the other, packs that another character is involved with. Because I do try to keep the character in mind, so I'm not really necessarily paying attention to the packs when making these, just what can I spin to sort of make it make sense for that character is what I'm trying my best at doing. So, yeah. And I'm finishing up the paragraphs, because I have like a little paragraph before each one. Now, obviously, if you plug and play, or plug and pull, characters from my Series 1 and add some from the other ones, you may have to slightly edit these paragraphs that I'm making to make sense. There's some of them I can easily see where you can make the transition pretty smooth by taking someone out and putting someone else in place. But, you know, just feel free to, when I finally get all those up, if you want to give the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge a try, but you don't like the first original 10 characters, feel free to add any of the others that I will be coming out with. But I think I'm going to make a video actually going in details of the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge and all the different characters, just because it is my challenge, and I've probably should have made a video a while back ago about it. Now, I don't know if I'm going to split it up and do like a generalized video and then maybe one focusing on the first 10, the second 10, the third 10, or if I'm going to try to put it all together. Depends on when I'm talking, how it seems it's going time-wise. So, look forward to that eventually, because I am getting to the point. Right now, I am almost completely done with the next set of 10. Like, getting their paragraphs written for them and getting all the, for sure, little bulletin points of, like, things you have to complete in each generation done. As for the third 10, I at least have, like, their aspirations picked out, their skills picked out, their traits picked out, things like that. Then I just have to refine it a little bit as I go along. Hopefully I can get that out pretty soonish. Definitely probably be like a mid-end of May, just depending on how much time I get to work on those little descriptions and things like that. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I am planning on making that sort of video, so look forward to that if you're someone who's been interested in the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge, but you haven't given it a try still yet. Maybe, like, having a description of all of the characters and, like, seeing my extra characters I'll be adding on along the way. Maybe that will help you decide whether or not you want to give the challenge a try. So that is something I am trying to put together as quickly as possible. I also am slowly working on a male version. I did not forget about the men. However, I was just, when I first came up with this idea, some of the characters that I first immediately thought of stuff to like make generations for just happened to be females. I had some thoughts in mind for certain male characters as well, but there was more female characters that was coming to mind of like what I could do. And to be honest with you, as I'm going through and actually starting to make the males version as well, I'm realizing, though, in some ways there's not quite as many female protagonists or females that really stick out in their games as much as there is as many the male. Obviously that is evolving and changing as of right now, but I will say, even though there's probably more main characters or characters that have a significant role that are males, the females do have a little bit more personality behind them in some ways, or at least a personality and like things that they do that can much easier translate to Sims, I could say at least, and trying to make challenges for them. With some of the guys, because I'm trying to not only include characters that I really like, but I'm also trying to take into consideration like popular characters as well. So like some of them, it would be like the same for like 2 or 3 different characters. Like the more I think about it, the more that I try to do, I'm like, well, that's just very similar to this character that I've already set up stuff for. So yeah, I'm noticing that, but maybe as I go down, I made a list of like 40, 50 male characters, and obviously that's going to be weeded out depending on how much overlap there is, and also like how easy is it actually to make a realistic aspiration and stuff for them. Since the For Rent thing came out, Tom Nook was up for sure going somewhere on one of these lists. I was like, yup. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, those are things to look forward to in regards to my generational challenges that I'm making. But also feel free to check out Not So Berry, because I'm also doing that one. So, and I eventually want to do some other Legacy challenge as well. But, you know, Sims 4 is the first time I've been doing Legacy challenges, and I've been learning quite a bit along the way. And I think I lost the train of thought that I was going to add at one point in time alongside some of these statements I'm making. But I did have to take a break in between for recording this voiceover. So, yeah, anyway. Sometimes I lose train of thought really easy. Like, I can lose train of thought within, like, 5 minutes. So, yeah. But anyway, I think for the most part with Female Gaming Legacy, that was the main thing I had to say. But yeah, you will see the get this, like, fully furnished and everything as the Female Legacy goes on. So, just to wrap back around to the build itself for a bit, I did this layout all, like, on my own. Sometimes I've been doing layouts on my own. Sometimes I've been doing them where I had, like, sort of a blueprint, or at least, like, I had the outside, like, a picture of the outside of a house, and I could go from there. But this one was completely, I just started placing walls places, basically, inside and out. I was just like, meh, as long as it remotely gives castle vibes off, without being too much. Yeah, it works. I'll go for it. But yeah, so I definitely wanted at least like some sort of grand staircase in the entryway. So I wanted like an entryway with like a nice staircase into it. Obviously I wanted to make sure I had some bathrooms throughout the place. Because honestly, you almost never could have too many bathrooms, especially if you're ever going to have people over. Because I don't know what it is, but when you get a bunch of people together, at least I've noticed this. Granted, there was 2 different scenarios. One is my family is just, who knows, strange. So, yeah. Anyway, it seems like with my family, when one person has to use the bathroom, multiple other people have to use the bathroom. And the problem is most of the houses that we have our get-togethers in is either under 1 or 2 situations. Either there is only 1 bathroom in the whole entire house, or there's only 1 working bathroom in the whole entire house. So even if there is a second bathroom, the second bathroom is not fully functioning to where you can actually use it. It's usually down to 1 bathroom. So I will forever try to put multiple bathrooms in my builds. But also with this being like sort of a castle sort of theme thing, I'm like, granted, you know, back in the day when castles were like first coming about, you know, I don't think bathrooms were like actual bathrooms as we think about them nowadays were an actual thing, but obviously, again, I'm going with this had the bare bones of a castle that has been slowly modified as time has went on. So it has bathrooms. Functional, fully functional bathrooms. But also, it sometimes takes up space in some of these bigger builds anyway, and like, bathrooms you can sort of stick in some of the more otter-shaped places, like, yeah, here. Of course, my cat decides to start being as loud as possible as I'm doing a voiceover. She has been asleep most of the morning. But now she wants to make all sorts of noise and seem to get nosy into everything. Hey, stop. That is not for Kitty. What'd I tell you? And she does this multiple times. Like, even if I'm recording, like, my Not So Berry or Female Gaming Legacy or a Random Life or... Okay, anyway, had to get back. Get back here. Cat wouldn't listen to me for a bit. But yeah, she does this all the time. She'll sleep for when I'm not doing much of anything, and then when I'm doing stuff is when she decides to wake up. But she has jumped up on my chair on a few times with me playing some of my other ones, so... If you've watched any of the series, you might randomly see my cat jump up on my chair, so something to keep an eye out for. But anyway, yeah, so there's quite a few bathrooms, but I had the big entryway that I wanted, and that entryway sort of goes into the second floor. There is a third floor, but I don't make the entranceway to it quite as grand. Obviously, on the second floor, it looks still sort of like that double staircase, whatever, but when you get to the third floor, where the stairs are going, it's not quite as grand as what it was on the lower floors. Because at that point, you're slowly getting less and less into, like, I guess the public areas, in a way. The areas that are not going to be visited as much by people who are not within the family. Granted, I don't have many social events with my Sims, especially once they start having kids. It's like, I just stop doing it. My next generation in the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge, though, I'm going to try not to do that. And once, what is it, Generation Green, I think it is, you have to say yes to every invitation you get. That's gonna be weird for me, so, you know, that's gonna be fun. But, anyway, so, but, outside of let's continue on with the rooms here. Well, on the bottom floor, there is, like, a little office for Zelda. She's in the political career, which I gave her political career because that was the closest thing in my mind to it being, like, a monarchy type thing, like king, queen. So, she's in the political career. So that is going to be her office. There is 3 bathrooms. There's also a kitchen, a dining room, a living room, and then also, like, a little foyer or whatever. Not an entry room. I think a foyer is just like a mud room in a way. Because that little back area on the back that has like a bunch of windows on it compared to the rest of the house, that's supposed to be a gardening area for Bryce. Granted, I started building that before I fully knew how much of a role the gardening was going to play in my Zelda's generation. But it plays a significant role. Like, Bryce, hardcore gardening. And honestly, the gardening is a big part of the reason why we're able to afford this house. Once you get to a certain stage of gardening, it makes a lot of money. Also, another thing connected to gardening that makes a lot of money, which is something you have to do for Zelda's generation, with the flowers. So, yeah. Definitely glad that I definitely gave, like, a little green room with all the windows so that the sunlight can come in, and stuff like that. But so, yeah, that's like a room that sort of is an entryway for the back section, so you can come in, and when you've been dealing with garden, that doesn't trace over to, like, the rest of the house. You know what I'm trying to say? Anyway, it's a transitioning point. So, there's lots of hallways. Each of the balconies also have one of those, like, little rooms that sort of sets, like, an entryway for the balcony or whatever, because you're inside transitioning back into so it's not necessarily a hallway, but it is a hallway, but also a bigger room than a hallway. You know what I think it is called a foyer, but a foyer may also just be the entry room. I forget the exact term for a foyer. But I think it is one of those rooms that connects to almost the outside, or does. Anyway, I don't know as many building terms as I probably should in some cases, but Then on the second floor, let's just go to that. There's another one of those rooms that goes right before the balcony. So like a little entryway into the balcony and separating some of the other rooms. But there's also, basically, technically 4 bedrooms, but as of currently I'm not using one of them as a bedroom. There is also, Zelda is a spellcaster, so there's a chance that most of her kids, if not all of them, also could be spellcasters. So there's a general magic room that everyone is able to use and freely use all together. And there is 2 bathrooms on that floor, I believe. Yes, 2 bathrooms on that floor. Then the 3rd floor is where the master bedroom is, along with the master bathroom, a closet, a private balcony, plus a smaller public balcony, and a little entry activity way into that balcony. Another possible bedroom or whatever you want to do with it. That's the one room that I actually haven't at this point in time done anything with. So I don't know what it's going to turn out to be honest with you. Could turn out to be anything. But there's also a library up there. And then there's, Zelda's private, magic room that is more of hers, for her use particularly. Because she is, high up spellcasters. And there's a chance that her kids will not fully pursue spellcaster if they get that trait even in their bloodline. So, there is that. So that is the general flow of things. But yeah, you'll get to see them, how they look as time goes on if you watch the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge, which should be linked in the description and or at the end of the video. I'll make sure it is at least in one of those spots, if not both. So if you want, you can go and watch it there. So yeah, I hope if you are watching Female Gaming Legacy, I hope you are liking it. If not, I hope when you go watch it, you do like it. There is a lot of videos to catch up on. Legacy challenges end up taking a lot longer, of course, and especially depending on how you're playing them. I find when I'm recording, it takes me a little bit longer, and I only know this because of, sometimes when I do give myself personal challenges in some of my own, personal families that I'm playing through, and in some cases, which I've had to do recently, where I recorded, 2 episodes worth, dummy me, didn't save. Technically, I think I recorded 2.5 episodes worth because I had to finish up the 3rd episode after the fact. I couldn't finish recording it the same day. But dummy me didn't save during that whole process, and then something happened in the towards the end of the 3rd recording where Sims basically just on me. It was still loading, it seemed like it was playing fine, but there were certain things that was acting weird, and I was like, what's going on? I hit save. Just to try to, I was like, I haven't saved in a really long time. Let me just go ahead and hit save and try to make sure something doesn't happen. Well, the save just kept spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. I got up and went to the bathroom. I went up and fixed me some food. I think I did in between the bathroom and the food. I think I actually did some straightening, then fixed some food, came back down, was letting my food cool, turned on a show. And it was still spinning and spinning, so I had to force close Sims. And that sucked. So I had to replay through everything, and it went a lot more smoothly when I wasn't thinking about the fact that I was engaging the camera and stuff like that. I'm still not that great at it, to be honest with you, at least I don't think I am. So I apologize, and thank you for watching if you continue to watch my videos. However, I do realize I'm able to focus a lot better when I'm not recording, and there's even been times during recordings where something got a little too chaotic, and I had this recently with Random Life. It just got a little too chaotic, and I had to take 10-15 minutes where I just forgot the camera was there, and I just fully focused on trying to get things to a certain point so that I could breathe. So yeah, in the recording process, it does take a little bit longer time. If I was just purely playing this, it probably would not have taken me nearly as long, or if I at least recorded the same situations but ignored the fact that I needed to talk to a camera and the camera was there and stuff, probably would have went by faster, that sort of situation. So it is a lot of videos, I admit, but I really have no idea how I'd get around that. Not So Berry, which is going at a little bit of a faster speed because I did purposely make Female Gaming Legacy Challenge a little bit harder than Not So Berry on purpose. So when you compare where I'm at by episode, let's say just pick a random number, 75. So episode 75 in Not So Berry and episode 75 in Female Gaming Legacy. You can definitely tell I'm further along in the Female Gaming Legacy, Not So Berry than I am Female Gaming Legacy. So like at 75 I may have been Generation 3 on Female Gaming Legacy, but I was already in Generation 4 for Not So Berry and so forth. I don't know if that's exactly what happened. That roughly seems what happens. I'm currently on Generation 5 of Not So Berry, and I'm on 4 of Female Gaming Legacy. But I'm technically I have recorded the first episode for Generation 5 for Female Gaming Legacy. So technically I am on Female 5. So I'm on 5 for both. However, I literally just started 5 for Female Gaming Legacy, and I've been on 5 for a bit for Not So Berry, and I have recorded way more Female Gaming Legacy Challenge recently, just because I kept wanting to play it, than I have recorded of Not So Berry. So, I would probably be further along in Not So Berry if I would recorded the exact same amount of stuff. So, yeah. Anyway. Though I am loving both of them. Truly and honestly. But yeah, so what I'm getting at is it is one of those times that you can either binge them, or it's something that you know that you can watch 2 videos a day and you'd have something to watch like for a while every day. So, but I hope people are enjoying it. I know I don't have a lot of subscribers and I know I don't get a lot of views, but I hope the very few people that are watching are enjoying it and stuff. And I hope you like this build as it goes along, and I hope you look forward to seeing it come to life in the Female Gaming Legacy as Zelda moves into it and makes it her permanent home, and you know, our Generation 5 will grow up in this home as well. So I hope you're looking forward to that. I know that ultimately in the end I have really liked how this house turns out. In the process of building it in this beginning part, I wasn't really for sure how I was feeling about it. You know, I'm still sort of in that low of when it comes to building. Like, part of me is like, I'm loving how this is turning out. The other part of me is like, eh. The other part of me is just not, like, super motivated. Like, I'm not sure about this. Like, I don't know if I want to continue. But I kept going with this build, and ultimately, the more that I've played in this build, the more I've grown to really like it. And, like, as I started adding the furniture to really bring out the personality of the house and of the people living in it, I have slowly loved it more as it went along. So I do hope you look forward to actually seeing the final outcome as Zelda moves into the house, makes it her own, and her family also grows and makes it their own as well as time goes on. So yeah, but this is the first speed build in a while. Like I said, I do have another one coming up eventually. There is part of it that is missing, like the very, very beginning part of it. I thought I hit record, but either I hit record twice and accidentally stopped the recording, or I slightly clicked off from the record button and thought I hit right on the record button, so it didn't actually start recording. Not really sure what happened, but something happened, but whatever, it's fine. It wasn't too big of a part, and I'm still gonna continue showing that build, so I hope you'll look forward to that. That one's actually a community lot build, so it's also another one that has CC in it, but I really like having the CC added onto the game, so it's sort of a way of me to ease back into building as if I have all of my lovely CC there. But that does sort of make me go through the process a little bit slower as well when I have so much to pick from. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and sort of, if you're watching any of my other videos, thank you for watching those as well and supporting me. I am trying to currently get back to uploading more frequently. Right now, it is in between of me just sometimes lacking the motivation to fully sit down and edit. Sometimes, I admit, which has always been something that I've struggled with, editing is not my favorite part. So, yeah. So I do push it off sometimes, but it doesn't help that as I'm pushing off the editing part, when I do go to edit, sometimes I am running into bigger issues than I used to. I don't know what it is about my older computer. Yes, it is older, but I didn't really think it was, like, it's not really, like, extremely old. Technically, I had a third computer that used to be my old editing computer. It was just gotten so slow, and I got to a point where I could get a third computer. Technically, I still put it on my credit card, and in some days, I still regret that choice to this day, but I was encouraged to do so and everything, so I was like, you know what, fine, I'll do it. And then, you know, whatever. But I like my new computer still, so I'm glad I have it. But the old editing computer, it was just getting really slow, and wasn't impossible to edit, but it was definitely hard. And now this one, it's not slow at all, but for some reason every once in a while it will just freeze up or just turn off. It's just like, nah. And it's only when I'm in the video editing software. Like if I'm not, if I have those softwares open, but I'm not doing any like exporting or processing or anything like that for those videos, it will be there and sit there just fine. Like, okay. But sometimes when I go to process a video, export, whatever, you know, I'm doing, that's when it will freeze up or turn off. I don't know. Just something about those. But I've been sort of working with it and clearing some things out of it and stuff to see if that helps. And it does seem like it's semi-helped. So I'm able to edit more freely than I was for a while. Because there for a while it was just, I almost could not edit anything. And it kept just constantly causing issues. So that helps slow up that process as well. So, hopefully it won't be so bad going forward. I sort of got some ideas of things that I just need to do every once in a while to help keeping it running well. So yeah, anyway, it should be getting to the end of this video. Towards the end, there is sort of like a little spot where I sit on the build on the outside. So you can sort of see, but again, to actually fully see the fully finished product and to see the furniture in it, I do recommend watching the Female Gaming Legacy Challenge and watching as the build evolves over time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, hit that lovely like button, subscribe. You know all that lovely YouTube goodiness, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. But until then, bye-bye!